are tuning in to The Spiritual Tea with Reverend Dr. Kimmie, brewing balance for the mind, body, and soul. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Reverend Dr. Kimmie. Now, what is the tea? Well, the tea is all about transformation, elevation, and alignment. This podcast isn't just a casual conversation. It's a journey into the depths of your being, where we uncover the hidden aspects of yourself that are yearning to come into the light. We dive in deep, offering you nuggets of wisdom, little sparks of insight, and practical tools to help you on your personal journey. Stay tuned. The Spiritual Tea starts now. Hello, beautiful souls. I hope you're having a fabulous Wednesday. And welcome. This is the very, very first episode of The Spiritual Tea. I'm Reverend Dr. Kimmie, and I am your host for this lovely hour of tea talk transformation. Now, what is the tea? Well, when I say tea, it's all about transformation, elevation, and alignment. Now, if you heard the intro, basically this podcast isn't meant to just be a casual conversation. This is supposed to be a journey. We're on a journey together and we're discovering things together. We're going to get nitty gritty, get into the depths of your being, and we're going to uncover, or help you rather, uncover those hidden aspects of yourself that are yearning to come into the light. Because remember, we are all light. Now, when it comes to transformation, that part of the tea is all about shedding those old layers, those outdated beliefs, and that stagnant energy that no longer serves you. It needs to be pushed out in order to get that good stuff in there and serve your highest good. We all want to serve our highest good on this planet. It's about evolving, growing, stepping into that new, better version of yourself that resonates with your true essence. Now, for the elevation part of the tea, that's taking it a step further. It's not about just changing who you are, because who you are is who you are. It's about discovering who you truly are and raising your vibration and your consciousness to new heights. We will explore how to elevate your mind, body, and soul, because you have to have those things in alignment. So when we're exploring our mind, our body, and our soul, we are aligning with the higher frequencies of love, peace, and divine wisdom. Now, when it comes to that alignment, that's the final piece. It's where everything clicks into place, where your thoughts, emotions, actions, and of course, your intentions all align with your soul's purpose. Because when you're in alignment, you're in flow. Ain't nothing gonna stop you if you're in flow. And life will unfold with ease and grace. So throughout this podcast, we're gonna dive deep into these themes, offering you nuggets of wisdom, little sparks of insight, and the tools you need to elevate yourself and continue on your personal journey. Whether you're ready to shake it all up and do something new, or just elevate your spiritual game, I've got you. I've got you covered. Now, when it comes to elevating your spiritual game, we're all here on this planet trying to do good in the world, right? So this is your personal tea party for the soul. So we're going to bring together all of those elements: transformation, elevation, and alignment. And they're always going to be on the menu here. So grab your favorite cup. I got me some tea too. And settle in as we brew some magic together. Now, little side note. What I'm truly trying to do here is create a community. On my website, which is at reverendrkimmie.com, that's REVDRKIMMIE. You can join for free. There's no charge. I don't charge anything for that. But on there, after each show, there's going to be a worksheet that goes along with the particular show theme to help you on your journey. So I'm even giving you some tools, like little free tools there. And we're going to foster a sense of community, because I know when we're on our spiritual journeys, it can get a little lonely, especially when you're wanting to talk about specific things with friends and family, and they may not be, they're not vibrating at the same frequency you are. So, this is what this is about, building a community where we can learn together both in the confines of the podcast and online after the podcast. After each show, I want to make sure we continue the conversation. So you go there free, and you can talk to me, talk to others, and we can build that community that we sometimes lack in the spiritual space, a true community. I'm beyond excited to, I'm thrilled for this journey we're going to take together. We're going to dig deep on different topics. Now, today's topic is kind of a starter, if you will. It's about spiritual intelligence and what it is, how you can elevate it, and how it plays a role, especially in today's modern world. And on top of that, how does your emotional IQ play into that as well? Okay, so now let's begin exploring what the spiritual IQ really is. Now, it seems like a weird concept to say spiritual and IQ together. When you think of IQ in a normal sense, you're thinking of tests and maybe thoughts of Einstein or geniuses and things like that, which that is one type of IQ. But now with the spiritual IQ, you can't really measure it that way. Your spiritual IQ is really something you have to feel into and discover by asking yourself pertinent questions. It's not about logic, because as we know, as spiritual beings having a human experience, you can't touch your intuition. You either feel and are in tune with it, or you're not. Your mind is about logic, but your soul is not. So spiritual intelligence basically goes beyond that. It is beyond space, beyond physical limitation. It's your connection to your divine essence and to the divine. It isn't something that can be scored on a test, like I was saying, but it is felt in the depths of your heart. Now, before I get too into this, I want to take a quick break. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. You're listening to The Spiritual Tea with me, Reverend Dr. Kimmie. Now, before I took that quick break, we began digging into what exactly is your spiritual IQ. So let's get back to it, shall we? We shall. Now, what does the spiritual IQ actually involve? Now, I had mentioned before where it's something that's really not tangible. You have to feel it. But what are the components? Like what is it made up of? Well, basically, think of it as the ability to see beyond the material aspects of life and tap into something deeper, whether that's the understanding the larger purpose behind events, or just recognizing the interconnectedness of all things, or simply living in alignment with our highest values and our highest truths. Let me break it down a little bit further. Spiritual IQ encompasses qualities like compassion, empathy, and like I mentioned before, the best one and the one that's really important also is intuition and the ability to find meaning and purpose in life. When we're unable to find our meaning and our purpose in life, we tend to flail aimlessly. That could be something you can see manifested in your relationships. It can also be something that you see in your work environment. It can manifest in different ways. But once you start to really get on that journey and start to learn more about who you truly are as a soul and as a human here on the planet at this important time of enlightenment, then you will understand that you're connected, you'll feel that connection. And it really is something to behold when you can feel that. For example, let's say about compassion. When I say compassion, I also mean self-compassion. So let's just keep that in mind. But I'm not talking about feeling sorry for somebody. We're talking about the ability to truly understand and share the feelings of others. This can transform the way we interact with people, leading to deeper and more meaningful relationships and even deeper and meaningful conversations when you're able to see things from their perspective, because we all have our own unique perspectives. Now, when it comes to empathy, that is another critical component. And that one really is about stepping into someone else's shoes and seeing the world from their perspective. But empathy, now I know I'm speaking to some of the empaths. I know there's some empaths out here. I have deep empathy, and I'm pretty sure you do too. But empathy can be sometimes disabling if you're an empath, for example. So it's always good to keep that emotion, or that feeling rather, that vibration in check, and make sure you're feeling but not absorbing someone else's emotions, what they're going through. Now, when you put all this together, you get like a higher spiritual IQ, generally. And that allows us to connect with others on a soul level. And beyond the surface differences we recognize and share with each other, we have differences. But we're all sharing this earth. We're all human, right? So when you're able to feel that connection to others and to the planet, you're living a more fulfilled life, because truthfully, right now, it's all about connection. We noticed that when COVID hit, right? We were missing, as humans, that connection. We yearned for it. I know my friends and me did. We tried so hard to find that connection. So connection is very important. It's a very important part of the human experience. So understanding that you're already on a step up, because you're elevating your spiritual IQ just by being here and doing the work, or just experiencing these things. Like, if you're highly empathic, or you meditate every day, or if you don't, you're going to notice parts of your life that show how in tune you truly are with the cosmos. Now, when it comes to intuition, that's extremely important, like I said, and it plays a really big role. That's your inner voice. That's your, don't do that. Don't do that. Do that. Or go this way, go that way. It does a lot of things. My intuition, I'm an energy sensitive. So a lot of times I feel something externally before my intuition internally catches up. And depending on how your intuition manifests for you, that's probably another thing that you may or may not notice. But in all else, it's really that gut feeling. I know people say, I feel it in my gut. And a lot of times people think that's just a saying. No, when you feel it in your gut, that's your intuition telling you whatever you need. And when it comes to intuition, it's about tuning into your body. I don't know if you've ever used a pendulum. And let me see, do I have a pendulum right now? I don't. I wish I did right now. But when you're tuning in, say with a pendulum, it swings yes or no, and you train it to do what you want, but it's connected to yourself, right? You're not controlling it. Your subconscious is answering those questions for you, but your body is the same. When you are in a situation and you're scared, you may not know you're scared, but you might feel sick to your stomach or feel it in a specific part of your body. That's your intuition telling you that something is off. So it's very important. Now, that also ties in with all of these other things to make sure you're able to really stop sweating the small stuff and just focus on what really matters. And that's really what your spiritual IQ is about. It's about listening to yourself, raising your vibration to match your highest, both your highest timeline and listen to your highest self, and to connect with others. So that's really what that's about. Some people might ask why we even worry about this in a spiritual practice. You know, caring about our spiritual IQ, it goes far beyond our personal stuff. And it's really a part of the process of achieving inner peace. But it's also a key component in unlocking different levels of awareness. Okay. So it allows you to navigate the complexities of life where you can feel your deep purpose, you're more in tune with yourself, the people around you, and of course, the universe that we're all connected to at large. First, when we raise our spiritual IQ, we're accessing our soul's wisdom, okay? Your soul is wise. Your soul, you will never tell yourself a falsehood. Your body knows truth and it knows your truth. So when it comes to your spiritual IQ and getting in touch with the deep wisdom that we all possess, and we keep in mind, all of our paths and journeys are unique. So whatever my wisdom is not someone else's. But that deeper intelligence that connects you to spirit is gold. And it allows you to be self-aware and to tune out that ego. And we all know what that ego can do. It can drive us into fear, to negativity, and lots of different things. Now, don't get me wrong, ego is important, okay? But when it controls everything you do, not so much. So furthermore, when we're on our journeys in cultivating our spiritual IQ, strengthening our intuition, there's another aspect as well, our cosmic level. Our spiritual IQ connects us to the universal flow of energy. Now, if you are, and I'm sure there's some people out there that are either energy healers, I am also an energy healer, or someone who works with energy, or is just highly sensitive in some way, that's connecting yourself. Those gifts connect you to the universal flow of energy. And we're all energetic beings. So recognizing that connection to the cosmos on a grand scale is really, the higher your spiritual intelligence goes, the more you're going to resonate with the vibrations of the universe and be able to tap in and tune in to that vibration. So that connection to the greater cosmic web, it supports us all. Remember, the universe is not going to let you sit out here flailing left and right. It's going to always support you. So I know we can get into ruts and think that, what's going on? Why is this happening to me? Remember that nothing happens to you, but more so for you. So it pushes you forward in your evolutionary process. So that's why it's so important to recognize the interconnectedness of all things, as well as the just soul wisdom that you have and how all of that intertwines. Now, there's another key thing that spiritual intelligence is about. It's also about your energy centers. Now, I'm not going to go over every single chakra. I'll have a whole other episode probably on something like that. But when it comes to your spiritual IQ and your energy and your vibration, those are connected to your meridians and your chakra system. So when something's out of alignment, you'll feel it in your body and it'll manifest in some particular way. So when you're tapped in and you're really on path and your spiritual intelligence is really up there, you're going to have less things going wrong or feeling wrong, if you will, in your body, because your body is your thermometer. It tells you what's going on. Okay. For example, not to get too far into the chakras, but your lower chakras, those ground you to your physical experience. So when you feel any kind of negative stuff, where you feel lots of energy or something's going wrong, it's always a good idea. People always remember, ground yourself. And I know people say, ground yourself, ground yourself. It's all over the place. Go hug a tree or go plant your feet on the ground. I have rocks that I literally hold these and, feel myself pulled down to the earth. So grounding yourself is extremely important. And that's another thing that helps you regulate your spiritual IQ. Once you've got it, you're buzzing all over the place. You got to make sure you stay grounded. But of course, a lot of it ties to your heart chakra and your upper heart chakra. A lot of times people, we only talk about like the base chakras, but you have a heart chakra and then you have an upper heart chakra. Okay. Now that is the bridge. Your heart chakra in general is the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. That's a reason why the heart in popular culture is so prevalent on lots of things. And a lot of times we don't realize where these things connect, but the heart is not just a muscle. It's like your electric center of everything that connects you to the everything. Okay. And of course, can't forget our third eyes. That's one of those things where I know people try to open it up here and there. And trust me, if you want to open your third eye, please don't follow crazy YouTube videos. And I'm not trying to shade anybody. It's just, if you really want to do something like that, it's best to take your time. It'll always open when you are ready. So forcing any chakra open is always a bad thing. Also, your crown chakra. Don't forget the importance of your crown chakra. And your crown chakra definitely is your connection to the divine. That's how you tap in completely and get those messages. Besides your intuition, but that talks to your intuition. So that is another important thing about your spiritual IQ and parts that, help it grow. You hold that thought, and we're going to take another quick little break. And when we come back, we're going to dig a little bit deeper, and we're going to go into some other things that can help you elevate your spiritual IQ. And welcome back. This is me, Reverend Dr. Kimmie, and you're tuned in to the Spiritual Tea on Transformation Talk Radio. Now, when I left, we were discussing different chakras and how they can affect your spiritual IQ. And this, can seem a little heavy, I know. And so I don't want to go into, like I said, every single chakra, although I did cover some that I think are the most important. Your heart chakra, your third eye chakra, keep in mind, don't be opening that for no reason. And your crown chakra, as well as making sure you are grounding yourself anytime you feel the need to ground yourself. And it's very important. But with all that being said, now that we've explored really what it is, how do we figure out where we're at? Like I said before, IQ, this isn't a cognitive thing. You can't just take a test. This is a feeling thing. So it's more nuanced. It's more personal. So each person's going to have their own thing. And to just give you a reminder, I did create a worksheet for this episode. So it will have some different things to ask yourself, different questions, things you can go over at your leisure to see where you're at. So it's not a test per se, but more like an assessment. You can kind of self-assess where you think you are and where you want to be. So now that's going to require some deep introspection, being honest with yourself, and really that willingness to explore the depths of who you truly are. So now, with that being said, what are some practical practices that you can use in your day-to-day that will help you? And also, what things you should be looking for, what things you should be doing. Now, when it comes to the one thing I think is the most important is reflect on your sense of connection. And what I mean by that is ask yourself, how often do you feel a sense of connection to something greater than yourself? I know the world has been extremely chaotic. And oftentimes, when the world is chaotic, we can feel chaotic. And through that chaos, it sometimes can be hard to get to that place of inner peace. And remember, no one can give you peace. That's an internal thing. Just like no one can make you happy. You have to make your own self happy. So just ask yourself, do you feel a connection greater to yourself, greater than yourself? And I don't mean you have to be religious or anything like that. I mean, just in general. I want to keep this podcast as free from dogma as possible. I keep it scientifical with metaphysics and quantum physics and literally all the good stuff without the dogma, okay? But don't catch me. I might quote a couple quotes from here or there from whatever spiritual thing that's on my mind. But yeah, so what are you feeling? Do you feel a connection? And feeling a connection doesn't necessarily have to be, like I was saying, a religious thing. You can feel connected by being in nature, especially in nature. And if you have places around you that you can go and walk and see and feel nature, all the better. Sometimes it's hard to do that. I live in the city, so it can be a little stressful to like try to get grounded outside or just to feel connected that way. But sometimes just looking up at the stars, looking at the sky, sunbathing with sunscreen can be a great way to absorb some of that beautiful cosmic sun energy. Now, going back to the chaos part of that, your ability to find the peace and clarity amongst all of this is a key factor. So we've been going through a lot of stuff, and I don't know what your personal journey is or what you've been personally going through, but I'm sure that we've all went through, if we are not currently going through, something that is changing us. I know currently there's a lot of energy hitting the planet, and I feel that a lot. But being peaceful among all of that upheaval energy and change energy that is being given to us so we can elevate ourselves can sometimes rattle us. And so finding peace any way you can, even if it's 10 minutes of just sitting quietly in a room, like, or music. Music is the best thing to find peace, in my view, especially if it's the right frequency. So reflect on how you handle stress, how you let the external world get to you. Because remember, and I know some people are out there who have studied manifestation and things of that nature. That's probably why you're in this going to this network or watching these shows to begin with. But we reflect. We basically, whatever we're feeling internally, we reflect and it reflects back to us. So there's this vicious cycle. So if we're in a state of chaos internally, we're going to just attract more chaos. So reflect on how you handle stress and adversity. Do you crumble? Does it make you react instead of be calm and understand what's going on and see the deeper meaning behind everything? That's a good indicator of where you are on your spiritual IQ and on your journey. Another thing that helps, and I've kind of touched on this with the last bit of information, but mindfulness and meditation practices. Now, I'm not saying you have to become Buddha and sit in front of a tree for I don't know how long and just don't move. That's not logical and feasible in these days and age. In this day and I can't even meditate every day like that. I wish. I wish I could just sit under the tree and meditate all day. I would love it. But we can't. So, how often do you do whatever you do that is a practice that calms you and lets you center yourself, ground yourself, be present in the moment? Meditation practices are not, I know some people think of meditation as, like I was saying, you just sit in front of, sitting and just, and then you're looking around like, okay, I don't know. So don't think of it like that. And that's why I like mindfulness as a way of explaining meditation practices, because there can be mindfulness meditations too. Music is definitely a way to do mindfulness meditation. Sound baths are a quick, relaxing way to affect your body positively and to get you into those states of conscious, like higher consciousness, and elevate that vibration. It teaches you to get in tune with the subtle things in your energy body, your body. And that's important. And it also helps mindfulness and meditation practices, of course, also help hone your intuition. So we all have intuition. And by doing mindfulness techniques or meditation practices, however that looks for you, it's key that you find what works for you, of course, but also just give into it. It doesn't have to be complex. It helps in the long run with everything, like with everything. Now, when you start raising your spiritual IQ, you'll know. Trust me, you'll know. You may start turning on different gifts even, or just any number of things. And keep in mind, you have to have an open mind, because again, spiritual IQ is not something you can calculate. It is something that you feel. Another part of this is how you handle difficult emotions and difficult situations. And I had mentioned about the energy hitting the planet. There is a graph that you can look up, just if you're curious. I know it kind of piques my interest. I think it's called the Schumann resonance graph. It's like Mother Earth's heartbeat. Well, lately, Mother Earth has been all over the place. And that energy is sent here to help us push out the bad energy or density in our body. So sometimes that requires you to handle difficult emotions. And so you might be a little spicy, if you will, when you talk to people. So how do you handle things going wrong and things? Do you let it escalate, or are you able to just kind of and like take a step back? Because if you react impulsively to anything and don't take that moment to breathe and reflect and respond, you may not like the results, because that can get you into trouble. I should know. When I was younger, my temper was fiery. I don't know if you could tell. I probably had a fiery temper, but yes, it was very fiery. And so that is something that I think was one of my key things I was working on, and didn't know it when I started doing a lot of meditation and mindfulness practices myself. That ability to not catch the ball, not to let someone's hurt. There's a saying, hurt people hurt people. Okay. So when someone says something nasty to you or negative, or, that's their perspective. That's them coming from a place of hurt. So that ability to take a step back and just not react, but respond thoughtfully is a key thing in elevating your spiritual IQ. Now, another thing, of course, I mentioned is compassion and empathy. So ask yourself about the level of compassion and empathy you have towards others, and of course, yourself. There is a tendency, and this is also with empaths too, so I'm talking to you empaths especially, to be people pleasers. People pleasing doesn't do anything. That is a personal thing, right? You think you're helping, but you're not. But it can be a vicious cycle. So allowing yourself self-compassion, especially when people are people pleasers or empaths, it can get a little tricky. Finding compassion for others doesn't mean bending over backwards, okay? It really is about the ability to feel for others, to understand that they are struggling. We all are struggling. Understand their struggles, and to just offer kindness without expectation. You don't want to expect anything. You just want to be there. Sometimes compassion can be just sitting with a friend who needs your presence there without even saying anything. Just that presence, just your energy being near theirs is in itself healing and a way to express compassion for them. Now, when you have a high spiritual IQ, also have to think, like I said, extend it to yourself too. There is this big industry right now about self-help and, and self-love, and that's great. But sometimes people forget self-compassion. Basically, in a nutshell, give yourself some grace. Okay? Give yourself grace. Spirit gives you grace, give yourself some grace. I used to feel pretty disconnected from my spiritual self. And I think that's why I've done like this 180 and got really, I got my doctorate and did all this stuff. And a little really because when I was younger, I was very spiritual and questioning of everything. And it was, we get into this habit of not really looking beyond the physical or what we can physically see. And if you had gifts when you were younger, I did too. I cut them off because it didn't fit perfectly and neatly into this box that I thought I had to fit into. So when you start to get in tune with yourself, that's when the magic happens. These are some ways that you can basically, recognize these things, but start small. If you don't already have a meditation or mindfulness practice, create one. If you need help, guess what? I do that for people. So you can always look on my website for information of that. But over time, you become more comfortable and things start to progress and you start to see the changes in yourself, especially when it comes to gratitude and grace. And I didn't say the gratitude word yet. Oh, I did not even mention gratitude. Gratitude. Oh my gosh. Gratitude works hand in hand with compassion. They're very powerful together. And gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance. So what do you have? What are you thankful for? It could be, let's see, I'm thankful for my cats. I love them dearly. I'm thankful for my husband. I'm thankful for this podcast that I can talk to you guys and hopefully help you on your journeys. I'm thankful that I'm alive. I'm thankful for so many things. There's always something to be thankful for. And a gratitude practice is key also to really getting in touch with yourself and elevating that spiritual IQ. And of course, community. And that's one of the main reasons why I have wanted to do this podcast, community. It's hard to find, like I said early in the podcast today, it's hard to find your soul tribe sometimes. I found a lot of friends, real life, that I am grateful for, who are my soul tribe. I know we came here together because we resonate so hardcore, but sometimes it's hard or someone's not on your same level. So that's really why I created this, or wanted to create this podcast, because I know that feeling of feeling a little alone on your journey. You may have no one to talk to or even bounce ideas off of or ask questions. And that can be disheartening, especially when you're on this beautiful journey of realizing your potential, understanding who you truly are as a soul, having a beautiful human experience, and what that means for you and your unique soul. So, the community aspect is really important. And again, like I said, I want to build a community on my website. Just go to reverendrkimmie.com. That's REVDRKIMMIE. There is the spiritual tea group I made for this show. But then there's just, if you sign up, you can talk to other people. There's forums, introduce yourself, have fun. So pretty much that's what I wanted to do this for. And before I forget, because I only have a couple minutes and I talk too much, how does this all play into your emotional IQ? Basically, that journey, that those link together because of the simple fact is your emotions. You have to be able to understand how your emotions flow before you can really tap into your spiritual IQ. So I might have to do another topic on that because I talk too much. But in any case, I am so happy that glad you all are here. This is the very first episode. Of course, we're going to have many, many more. And I want to make sure that you visit me at revdrkimmie.com. There's tons of services. I do spiritual coaching, mindfulness coaching, energy healing, Reiki, even a little card reading. But nonetheless, I'm just glad you're here. And I hope I gave you a lot of things to think about or to even research. Of course, don't take my word for anything. Go do your research too. That's how we learn. We learn that way. So before we go, a couple minutes, I want everyone, this is what I'm going to end up doing, I think, on every show. I want everybody to take a deep breath, okay? Just from the earth, just feel it and hold it. And I want you to think of some things you're grateful for. I'm grateful for, and just say them out loud. And you can say them in your head too, and then just exhale, just real quick. Nothing stressful, just center yourself and have fun. I'm glad that we had this. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to message me. Also on TikTok. I'm on TikTok a lot. And I'm also on LinkedIn. And of course, on my website. So any of those places is where you can find me. If you have any questions, definitely reach out. I am not a hard to talk to person. I will give you whatever I need and whatever I can give you to help you on your journey. That's the whole point of this whole beautiful show. So next one of these, I'm not sure what the topic is going to be, but I want you to thank you for watching. And don't forget, this is every fourth Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time on Transformation Talk Radio. And I want all of you to have the most blessed day. Think about what you're grateful for. Just enjoy today, because today is a day that you make. And so you make the day what you want it to be. And it should be as beautiful as you are. You have been listening to The Spiritual Tea with me, Reverend Dr. Kimmie, brewing balance for the mind, body, and soul on Transformation Talk Radio. Whether you're ready to shake things up with a big life change, want to elevate your spiritual game, or are just here to sip on some fresh perspectives about living in tune with your highest self, I've got you covered. This is your personal tea party for the soul, where transformation, elevation, and alignment are always on the menu. Every fourth Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific, grab your favorite cup, settle in, and let's brew some magic together. For more information on how to connect with me, visit revdrkimmie.com. That's REVDRKIMMIE.com.